It's been a long time coming. Our ladder lost. It's been a long time coming. And now what for? Proceed with heart. Reveal your path.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's stream. How's everybody doing? I'm doing okay. Hopefully, everybody is good on the internet today. Excuse me, just 1 second. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And yes, everybody's favorite smoking nun is back. I know I kind of wanted to talk about some less sensitive topics tonight, but I got a wild hair at my ass, and Vanilla Ice is doing just fine. Oh, and oh god, you gotta resend me that on Discord, Stacy. I will actually show that. Apparently, I have the perfect face for the Reface app. And you might have to forgive me if I sound like I've got stuff in my mouth right now. I am out of cigarettes and I'm trying to quit smoking, so I have a plug of chewing tobacco. I'm going full on redneck here, guys. Oh, hey, Josh. How have you been, man? It's good to see you. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm really bad, as you all know, I'm very bad at these. I'm very bad at doing live content. But it's good to see everybody, all four of you. I mean, well, no, 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 people now. Oh, here I will. And thank you, Nikki. You're pretty awesome yourself, you know. And oh, I think I got. Oh yeah. Here it is. We're oh shit. Before I do that. Make sure to turn the sound off. Okay, there we go. Got the sound turned off. And I still want to share this, but I also don't want to show off the Discord either. So I'm kind of stuck. Let's see if I can though. Okay, it won't even let me click now. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I mean, check that out. Do I make a great vanilla ice or what? Yeah, this is actually one of my favorites. Oh, shit, you're right. I should have downloaded it. I didn't even think about that. Oh, my God. Oh, well. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of. I'm actually kind of waiting. We don't have to go into everything right away. I'm just hopefully we'll see get more people showing up. But if not, I figure we can just chill out and be cool for a few minutes and then get into it. And who doesn't love Queen, Josh? I mean, honestly, I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of music you listen to. But if you don't love Queen, I kind of wonder if you have a soul. And Jennifer says, you almost look more like Vanilla Ice than Vanilla Ice. You know what? I'm going to take that as a compliment. I will definitely take that as a compliment and say thank you because well, he's clearly doing a lot better at life than I am, so I can't exactly make fun of him now, can I? I can make fun of his music for sure, but not him. Although I'm gonna keep. I'm just gonna say one thing, and I'm gonna keep this on the down low. I actually really liked Vanilla Ice's new metal album. And yes, Josh, this is true. The song and backing is from the Queen David Bowie song "Under Pressure," and in fact, Vanilla Ice got sued over it and had the most amazingly rock-headed defense for it, where he said that it's not the same because while theirs is like doon 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 doon, ours is like doon 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 ding. Actually, yes, he is. He flips houses now and makes quite a bit of money doing it. And he has he at least last time I checked, he actually had a show on HGTV or one of those home improvement networks. But yeah, last I checked, he had his own show. He was in business. He was in the house flipping business, and yeah, making quite a bit. Of course, that could have all changed since last I checked. Oh, hey, PJ. We'll say hi. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What time is it over there, PJ? Is it? I mean, I don't know where you're at, so I don't know if there's a time, how bad the time difference is. So I'm pretty sure you're East Coast though, so I'm gonna say 10 o'clock. And yes, HDTV makes everyone money now. So if we all get popular enough, maybe someday we'll have our own show on HDTV, and that'd be nice. Where I could do a show where it's all about me fixing up my trailer. Yeah. Okay, so it's 10 o'clock over there. Okay. Sorry, I'm drinking water. Yes, I'm trying to do this whole like being healthier thing. So I'm drinking a lot more water, a lot less coffee and Mountain Dew because I've been told that that's pretty bad. That maybe people my age shouldn't drink that stuff, but I'm still going. I mean, I still do it, just not as much. And I just gotta get like onto an exercise routine, get rid of my gut, because yeah, that's a whole mood right there. Anyway, it's really good to see everybody tonight. Hope I mean, unfortunately, I wish it was under a little bit better circumstances, but anyway, you know what? I'm just gonna go right into it. And so as you all know, I just recently rebuilt my Twitter because I was locked out of my old account, and no matter what I did, Twitter couldn't help me get back into it. So I rebuilt my Twitter. I've repopulated it with all of my friends, old and new. And PJ says I'm not that late. I'm just old. I am too. I'm going to be 48 in just less than a month. And yeah, where the fuck did all those years go? That's all I want to know. What happened? Anyway, so as I've been scrolling through my feed on Twitter, obviously, as we all know, there was that shooting in Texas, Uvalde, or I can't remember what the name. I know how it's spelled, but I don't know how it's pronounced. But there was a shooting there recently. 19 people passed away, and naturally, everybody, everybody's like chiming in left and right over what the problem is. Why does this keep happening? Why are people shooting up schools and other places? And you hear the same old things. I've heard the same old things. It's video games. No, it's the pharmaceutical industry. Yes, I've heard that one. Or no, it's because we're as a nation we've fallen away from the Lord. I've also heard that I've also heard, video games, video games, religion, mental health, all of these things. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, what is the actual reason? I mean, honestly, if you really want to, I mean, if you were to just ask me, like, without doing any research, just catch me off the street and just ambush me with the question, what would it be? I'd have to tell you, like, yes, because it's kind of all of the above. I mean, but I think the problem is that we have so many people out there who, I mean, I don't know if it's just an American thing or if it's just a human nature thing, but we're always like wanting that one thing, that one magical thing that's going to just make everything better and make everything go away. And I just don't know if it's like all that. But anyway, this is actually what really pissed me off, which set me off on this whole tangent of, okay, I'm going to make my discussion about this. I really wish I would stop getting those Discord notifications because they cover up the chat. And Josh, oh, hi, Stina. Hey, I subbed to you. And okay. And Josh says, it's a combination of many different things, in my opinion, because violence happens over here too. It's just different weapons. A good point. But I mean, how many mass murders does England have, as opposed to the United States, is my question. Anyway, I'm going into my hard drive here, as I got this all up in my hard drive. Oh God, that was the worst AZ impression I've ever done. So, oh God, okay, where is it? As soon as I find it, because I never actually organized any of this. Yeah, it's Uvalde, Texas. Okay. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's okay. Anyway, so this was the tweet that actually like got me all up in my what the fuck. And here it is by our guy Russ Peterson, who says, if you work on a video game that uses modern day firearms to shoot other humans, you need a real hard look in the mirror tonight. First of all, it has to be said that there have been studies done on this pretty much since Columbine. Yeah, the argument's that old. And there's been no causal link established between video games and gun violence. It's not there. I mean, there's a lot of correlation because, well, let's be honest, a lot of fucking people play video games. But that doesn't necessarily, as we all know, correlation doesn't equal causation. That is a logical fallacy. At least that's what I learned in philosophy 101. But, oh, hey, Green Frog. It's good to see you. How have you been? But here's the thing that really got me about this guy. And, oh, by the way, I'd like to point out, hang on, so as it turns out, this guy, Russ, okay, where is it? I'm still looking for, oh, there it is. Would you like to know what Russ does for a living? You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Turns out he's a video game developer. He worked on World of Warcraft. So, here's a guy who, in essence, works in the video game industry. And he's saying that video games with modern guns and, the actions that modern guns do is bad. And it's causing a moral panic, which, by the way, I would like to point out, I was born in the 70s, so I know how this goes. I remember in the 80s when people were killing each other over Dungeons and Dragons and heavy metal music. So trust me, I've heard all of this shit before, just different flavors. Same shit, different flavor. But here's where it gets really funny with this guy. Really funny. And as soon as I pull that up, here it is. Yeah. So this guy who's saying that, oh, video games with modern gun violence are warping the youth, he's off doing shit like this. And yes, that is a Warhammer figurine, which I'd like to point out is, well, it's not exactly a pacifist board game. It's a very gun and mech heavy. A lot of violence in it. Lots of shooting. Lots of shooting happens in Warhammer, guys. So this guy who's saying that video games with modern guns and modern gunplay is warping the youth is doing shit like this. If that doesn't scream physician heal thyself, I don't know what does. And oh my gosh, Stacy, it's like that one time I played GTA and immediately carjacked my neighbor. I actually did point that out on my Twitter. Oh, hey, Cher. Hey, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on. So I would like to point out something. And again, if you follow me on Twitter, I did post this. So here it is. Sorry, now I got to pull it up again. I'm going on Wikipedia. So I mean, if you follow my if you follow my Twitter, you already know this, but I'm going to ask rhetorically. Just pretend you guys don't follow me and you guys don't read anything I post, which is probably pretty akin to how it really is. And I would just like to ask you, what do you think is the most deadly mass murder as school related in American history? Is it Columbine, Sandy Hook, maybe Marjorie Stoneman? Those are all really good, fine answers. Unfortunately, they're all very wrong, because the worst in history happens to be the Bath school disaster, which occurred in, as soon as I share that shit. Oh, here, let me just pop that into another tab if I can. Here it is. Ugh. There we go. I'm going to share that. So anyway, yeah, the Bath school disaster was committed by Andrew Kehoe in 1927 in Bath Township, Michigan. He used a Winchester Model 54 with dynamite. And yeah, so 45 people died, 58 were injured. And I would just like to know, I absolutely have to know. And well, besides the fact, I would just like to know, what video game was Andrew Kehoe playing in 1927 that inspired him to kill 45 people and injure 58? Was there a did Grand Theft Auto Hooverville? Was that released then? I don't know. Maybe somebody can help me out with that. But yeah, so let's so apparently Andrew Kehoe was inspired to do this because he lost an election, and that he did it for revenge. Basically, he didn't. In fact, here it is. Kehoe was appointed in 1925 to temporarily fill the position of town clerk, but was defeated in the April 1926 election. The public rejection by the community angered him. Ellsworth wrote that he thought that this defeat was the reason why Kehoe had planned his murderous revenge, using the bombings to destroy the Bath Consolidated School and kill the community's children and many of its members. So basically, the guy was a complete and utter psycho, which, I mean, duh, right? Jane Ho. Hi, Jane Ho. And Stacy says, yeah, he was clearly playing Oregon Trail. I mean, come on. It's a shame he didn't die of dysentery. And oh, hello, Julie. Hey, thanks for coming by. Always appreciate seeing you. I really enjoyed I really enjoyed your live earlier when we were discussing the Johnny Depp trial. And Cher says, yeah, he put bombs in the school, killed his wife, and then blew up his own farm, including wiring the horses' legs together so they couldn't run out of the barn. You've got to be kidding me. That is some shit right there, right? So, I mean, we can't really say that this is some recent phenomenon that's, I mean, so I actually am going to say this. I don't really think that mass murder is really as all prevalent as the media tells us. I think that this shit's been happening pretty much since man figured out that, hey, I can, that other guy right there who's like me, I can take his life. And ever since then, hey, some people do it. It's just the media being what it is nowadays. It's pretty much 24/7. Everything is a headline, everything. So anytime something like this happens, like you're getting like almost like to the second coverage, which makes it seem like it's happening a lot more than it normally would. I don't necessarily believe that to be true, but again, I could be wrong. And this is why I've said that. This is why I said just before I came on that I'm tripping and falling into a socio-political morass that I may or may not be able to claw my way out of, because this is a whole nest of worms here. Nest of worms? Okay, I'm mixing my metaphors, but you get the idea. Anyway, I will stop sharing this guy. And we're back. However, here's the and yeah, honestly, that's a really messed up story, isn't it? And Stacy says that it's much more far-reaching now. Back when we were kids, what was going on in the Pacific Northwest would have to be major for would have to be major for me to have heard it in Arkansas. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, back in, well, even in the 90s, we didn't have, I mean, even with like the 24/7 news channels, which we had since cable, like CNN was one of the very first cable networks to come on the air. It still took a very long time for news to reach. And sometimes you didn't know about things until days or even weeks after the fact. Hello, just saying. Welcome aboard. You're not missing a whole lot. We're still just talking about our guns. However, I think one of the biggest things that we've especially okay, sorry, I'm kind of tripping over my words here, because again, I really suck at doing lives, guys. Oh, thank you, saying. I'm pretty sure I look. Yeah, that was pre-shower and shave, so I think I look a little bit better now. And looking at my nun picture, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of wondering if maybe I should regrow the mustache. Anyway, going back to the topic, and then and then after, by the way, after I'm done discussing this, I am more than willing to open up the panel for people to come on and just chime in, tell me what you think, or tell me about what you think about anything. That it doesn't have to be about the topic. We'll talk about whatever. However, as you all know, whenever something like this happens, is like people, especially politicians and spiritual leaders, i.e., Christians in America, are always make a big show over why this is happening. And I don't have like a lot of tweets or anything to talk about it. Like, I just grabbed like a few that I think really highlight the argument. So, and Stacy says, I liked what Senator Murphy said. Spare me the bullshit about mental illness. We don't have any more mental illness than any other country in the world. This is true. We're not crazier in America. I mean, although we like to joke that we are, it's really not true. It's just something that we say for effect. We say a lot of things hyperbolically for effect. Is hyperbolically a word? I don't even fucking care. However, one of the hang on, I gotta pull it up. You know, oh no, not there. God, dadgummit. Where is it? Oh no, not that. Ah, here it is. Okay, great. Hello, Shyla. Welcome to the stream. Anyway, so I did find another tweet that one of my old friends from my old Twitter account had reposted. And here it is. I'm just going to say today's school shooting was a heart and sin issue. We are all born in the first, Adam-born sinners. What the fuck does that even mean? No one is a good person, and so all the secular political people sit down, be quiet, get in a Bible, and read it. The secular worldview of evolution doesn't work. Okay. Oh my God. First of all, there is so much to unpack here. So much. It's a heart and sin issue. First of all, there are plenty of people who I mean, if you believe in sin, which I personally don't, because I don't think I have to tell anybody this by now, but I'm an atheist, so I don't. Yeah, sin is a complete religious construct, and I don't necessarily subscribe to it. We are all born in the first, Adam-born sinners. Okay. I think he was trying to point out original sin, which, again, I obviously don't believe in sin as an atheist. However, I think he's trying to discuss the topic of original sin, which, if you really think about it, is incredibly bullshit. It's incredible bullshit. Sorry, again, tripping over my words because I suck at lives. I mean, the whole concept of we're all sinners because the very first woman was talked into eating an apple by a magical snake and gave it to her husband, and therefore we're all sinners, is incredibly BS. I'm just going to put that right out there. So let's get to the next part. So all the secular political people, I'm pretty sure most political people, at least politicians, are Christian, or at least they publicly claim to be. Sit down, be quiet, get in a Bible. Wait, so the Bible's like a car now? Can I get in my Bible and drive it to the store for smokes? Because I could really use a pack of smokes right now, because you people make me want to fucking smoke. And read it. The secular worldview of evolution doesn't work. Well, first of all, evolution isn't a secular worldview. It's actually a scientific theory that many, many religious sects believe in, including the one I grew up in, Catholicism. We're all about the evolution, you guys. So, yeah. And I don't even have to pull up other tweets to illuminate this argument, because frankly, all of the arguments that I've pretty much read from the Bible thumper side pretty much boils down to this. Or Or let's not forget the classic. This is happening because we're keeping God out of schools. Oh, and before oh, hang on. I'm sorry, Gabriel. Hey, thanks for coming on board. I'm glad to see you. I'm hoping it's too bad that it couldn't be under better circumstances, unfortunately. And Just Saying says, of course it was Eve's fault. It's always the woman's fault. Oh, but nobody blames the guy who's like, oh, hey, I'm going to build you guys a great garden and you guys are going to live forever and it's going to be fucking awesome. But if you eat the fruit from that one tree over there, you're going to die. And Shiloh says, respect to decent. Oh, freaking Discord. Shiloh says, respect to decent people of faith, but I can't get on board with the whole Sky Daddy thing. I can get on board with this narrating, though. Oh, thank you. I was really like enjoying that, and I trust me, I've got more. I have so much more. Oh, the sites I have to show you. Oh, all right. I will check that out real quick. Because I apparently I got a clip. I got a clip. Okay, let me just okay. Boom.
Oh, these comments might be strong, but it's how I genuinely feel. I don't care that you're a Christian. I don't care what the Bible says. Like, I feel like it's a clown show, like sitting here trying to decipher what your little mythical book has to say about these very real political issues, right? I don't care if you're Christian. In fact, I will fight for you to have your religious liberty and practice your Christianity. I believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity, which means that you do not get to dictate the way I live my life based on your religion. I don't care what the Bible says. You have every right in the world. All those women who identify with your religion have every right in the world to not get an abortion, to not take birth control, but they do not have the right to dictate my life and what I decide to do with my body. I don't care about your goddamn religion. I'm so tired of having nonstop conversations about what the Bible says. You live your life in the way that you interpret the Bible. Again, I don't care, but you don't get to take the Bible and tell me, well, the Bible says this in this chapter, in this verse. I don't care. I don't care. I don't believe in it. And I have the right, based on our Constitution, to not believe in it.
Wow. Anna's dropping fire right there. That was a whole mood. And I'm not going to lie, I was all about that. That was amazing, Stacy. Thanks for bringing that to me. Eventually, I will figure out how to make that work so that I can actually show it. But I think you all got the gist. That is exactly true. And honestly, and the Establishment Clause of the Constitution, of the First Amendment specifically, states this. In fact, Thomas Jefferson elaborated on the Establishment Clause in a letter to the Bishop of Danbury, where he pretty much says that the wall of separation is not only to say that government can't enforce a religion, but other people can't either. And if you don't believe that, one of our other founding fathers, John Adams, in the Treaty of Tripoli, specifically states flat out, America is not a Christian nation. And that's the whole other thing, is that these fundamentalist fuckheads are, they use the Bible to support their idea, their sick, depraved idea of what America is. And frankly, it's bullshit. And people, I can't handle it. Like, that is just, no, you don't get to decide what America is based off your religion, because America is not America is supposed to be a secular nation where you are free to worship whatever the fuck you want. Okay? That's how that works. That is how the First Amendment works in our country. That is how the Establishment Clause works in our nation. And also, and just saying brings up a great point. Yeah. Well, the Bible does speak of supporting those in need. Jesus did say, "Hey, help the the least of basically help the least of us. Help those people who are sick. Help those people who are poor. Help the people who are suffering." But these, again, the functionalists in our nation, they don't care about that. The Bible's not about that for them. The Bible's about what they feel and what they want. And if anybody, and anybody else can just go piss up a rope. And Gabriel says, I suffered bullying through school days to the point of thinking about self-harm. I know the answer to why I thought about doing bad, but I don't know other people's situations to know their reasons. And my thing, now I did too. I suffered through a lot of bullying growing up in school. And as I got older, I became a bully myself. I had no problems like bashing you in the fucking head with your own locker door and then stuffing you in it if I didn't like you. And yeah, I know why. I know the answer to why I did it for myself. And it was because I had a lot of pent up anger from years and years and years of abuse in school by my classmates, to a point where I finally, but here's the thing again. And I grew up with a ton of guns. Like, I learned how to shoot like pretty much like shortly after I learned how to walk. My dad had a 30-06 rifle. He had a 38 caliber pistol. We had guns. Like, there were tons of guns in our house. We routinely went out and shot beer cans for fun. Not once, not even once did I ever think, hey, you know what? I should take these guns and go to school and just see what happens. And Just Saying says, separation of church and state. Exactly. Of course, the fundamentalists will twist that because, well, it's inconvenient for them to actually accept what that truly means. And Gabriel once again says, I'm a language teacher now, so if I can make a kid drop a gun and go towards art, music, sports as an outlet for their rage, I'm already a winner. And that's what happened with me, is that I found other ways to express myself. Like, I really got into art. Like, I love drawing. I'm terrible at it, but I've recently picked up the pencils again and started again. In fact, some of the people in my the Discord server I'm in, they've seen my terrible art. I also did a lot of sports. Turned out I was really good at baseball growing up. Not so much anymore, but I used to be pretty good. And that's Spit or Swallow, lovely name. Oh my God, brain cells will grow over here. Thank you. I don't know about that, bro. I'm not exactly the sharpest sword in the armory. I'm just a guy. Not the smartest guy in the world, and I'm really terrible at speaking off the cuff in lives. But I appreciate it. Thanks for checking us out. Oh God. I sound like such a twat sometimes. I don't mean to. I really don't. And let me go back up to the StreamYard. Oh, really? What was the last shit show that you watched? I gotta know. I have to know. What was the last thing that you saw? And while you're doing that, let's pull up some of our favorite weirdo politicians are saying. And I'm not gonna lie, this is completely low-hanging fruit at this point, but we're gonna do it anyway because fuck it. We can. Again, I got to figure out where it is because I wasn't quite as organized as I wanted to be, but here we go. Ah, yes, Lauren Boebert. Who here knows Lauren Boebert? Hang on, sorry, I gotta share that. Gotta pull it up. Oh shit. Anyway. Oh, right. I forgot she went live. But we're not gonna mention her name here. We're not gonna talk about her. Anyway, boom. My heart goes out to the friends and families of the 15 dead in Uvalde, Texas. The loss of innocent life breaks my heart. And it is in times like this that we should, as individuals, communities, and as a nation, turn to God for comfort and healing. Which is perfectly fine, I guess, but let's keep in mind, this is a woman who literally has family photos like this. Look at it. Look at that happy family. Look, they look so. Oh God. This is some. I mean. But yeah. Oh God. Spit or swallow. You're Akita, right? If it is, I am you. I can't even express my condolences on losing your husband. I honestly, I wish I could say that I can't imagine how you must be feeling right now, but as somebody who lost my own loved one a couple of years ago, I really can, and words are just not enough to express just how just painful this can be. But but you know what? You have people here, and I know you have people in your own life that, we're all here for you, man. We're here to support you, and your family is here to support you, and people love you, and they're in your corner. Just don't let the grief twist you, because it can. As somebody who has personally experienced it, if you let that grief like sit and fester, it can turn into hate. It can turn into rage, and that's a dark place to be in mentally. And if you need to talk about this with anybody, you got a bunch of cool ass people in our chat who'd be very happy to help, who talk to you and listen. Oh, and sorry, Gabriel, I apologize. I have real questions to ask you in the community. Can I share it? Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I don't know if I can answer, but somebody in the community, somebody in the chat can, I'm sure. I guess it depends on the community you're talking about, because I'm kind of in a few of them. Oh my God, is that Vanilla Ice on panel? Yes, I've become a nun now. I've become a really sexy nun. Like, I'm just saying, I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard. I'd fuck me so hard. Goodbye, horses. I'm crying over you. Anyway, so I wanted to point out something about one of the big arguments from fundamentalist idiots is that school shootings happen because as a nation we've kept God out of schools, we've kept God out of politics, we've kept God out of all of these things. I'd like to point out something. According to the Bible, God is omnipotent. So he has all powers. He's omnipresent. He's omniscient. So he knows everything, and he's everywhere. So if you really take that argument at face value, fundamentalist Christianity is literally admitting that God isn't powerful enough to be kept to, God isn't powerful enough to get in schools if we don't want them to, if we don't want him to. God isn't powerful enough to get into politics if we don't want him to. Is it just me? Is it just me? Am I not making the connection? Am I the one suffering from cognitive dissonance on this? Because just thinking about that argument just makes my brain kind of seize. Like when you run a car for like weeks without oil and suddenly it just oh, it's because we have free will. Well, okay then. If God has a plan for us all, then either free will trumps that, because if we have free will, then we can obviously choose to go against God's plan, can't we? And if that's the case, then God, again, isn't all powerful. However, if everything that we choose and everything that we do is all a part of God's plan, then we don't have free will. So, yeah, again, brain seizing. I look like the nuns that told just say not to roll up their kilt in high school, but I am much prettier. I am a very, very pretty middle-aged man. And TT says, so we have to choose it according to the Bible. And I know this because I'm a preacher. No, let me know next time you're doing a sermon. I'll be glad to drop by. I'm also making her think too hard. I'm making myself think too hard, and you guys know me, so you know that thinking isn't exactly in my wheelhouse. It's something I don't do very well. So anyway, going back to the topic here, and because again, I'm gonna go into some freaking low-hanging fruit. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jewish space laser lady, the woman who called the cold Italian soup on Jimmy Kimmel for saying mean, nasty things about her on his show, says this. And as soon as I make this work, I'm going to share it. Oh, there it is. Share. Okay. What a horrific act of evil today in Uvalde. Many prayers are being said for these children, families, and school community. Again, are you fucking serious? our only answer for any of this is thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. How the fuck does that help anyone? Okay. Oh, Gabriel has a good question. I will ask this as politely as possible, not to offend anybody or cause chaos. Do you believe having or not having a weapon in hand would make a difference for a mentally derailed person trying to cause harm? Yes. I firmly believe that. I mean, granted, now let's just be perfectly clear. If you want to do harm, you're gonna do harm. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a gun, a knife, a car, what have you, or even just your fists. If you want to do harm, you are going to do harm, or attempt to, if that's what your real goal is. My problem is that guns make it really, really easy. They make it very easy. In fact, they make it so that you don't really even necessarily have to look at the person that you're killing. You can just pull a switch and boom, they fall down. I was actually talking to somebody, and I brought up that if we had to go back to the old days where we used swords and pikes or our bare hands, and we actually had to look people in the face as the life like drained from their eyes, I think a lot more people would make that choice to be like, yeah, you know what? I don't really think this is a good idea after all. And I'm not saying that guns are bad. I don't believe guns are bad. I love guns. I own guns. I shoot for fun. But I mean, honestly, there is a gun control issue in our nation. And okay, Akita says, I think that a well-trained, mentally healthy person could very much change this from happening. No offense to anyone. And honestly, even like, I'm not even gonna lie, Marjorie fucking Taylor Greene, of all people, brings up this point. Is that some of these people just need some proper fucking guidance in their lives. And yeah, I know, world-shattering thing. I actually agreed with something that Jewish space laser lady said. But whether it's a parent or a teacher or a guidance counselor or just even a friend, like, you need somebody to, like, if they're showing the signs of, that maybe they're, not in a good place mentally, they, you need to step in and just be like, hey man, like, I kind of noticed that maybe you're not doing so hot. Do you want to talk about it? You what do you need? And Shyla says, that's something I never thought of. It's a good point. And Gabriel even says, like, you spray and pray, and it's all done. And he asks another question. Gabriel, you're asking some really good questions here. If a friend of yours or a relative opened up about grabbing a weapon and shooting up a school, would you intervene or walk off to not get involved in it? Honestly, yeah, I would intervene. I really would. Like, if I could stop here, I'm going to stop sharing that. If I could honestly stop somebody from committing an act of violence, somebody that I know personally, if I could stop them from committing an act of violence before they actually set about committing the act of violence, yes, I would do it. 100 times out of 100. 100%. Because I think in a lot of these, yeah, Picky here. Sorry, Picky, I didn't say hi to you earlier. Hi, Picky. And yeah, I feel that there is a moral obligation to intervene. If there's, if you know that, somebody has that desire or intent to hurt somebody or themselves, yeah, you want to step in and just be like, yeah, dude, like that's not cool. Are you okay? Like what's causing you to act, what's causing you to feel this way? Like what's going on in your head right now? Because like it's obviously in a pretty dark place. And again, I say this as a guy who was pretty freaking recently in a really dark place emotionally, to a point where I had my, all those guns that I talk about that I own, I didn't have them on me. I had to like stash them with family because, I was afraid that I was afraid that I would just like, drink a little too much of the rum because, well, I was pretty much drunk every night for 2 years straight, that I would blow my brains out. I'm not going to lie. Like that thought crossed my mind many, many, many times. And maybe, and TT says that's being responsible. It's being understanding. I think it's because, again, I'm staring down the barrel of 50 here, guys. So I've grown to understand that a lot of these things are temporary. Like a lot of these things that we feel, like emotions aren't forever. That they sometimes you can feel them for a very long time, but they aren't forever. It's hard to see that when you're in the moment, but you have to kind of tell yourself, hey, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm going through, whatever struggles are happening, this too will pass. And I'll be on to the next moment. And maybe it'll be a good moment. Maybe it'll be a shitty moment. Maybe it'll be just a meh kind of moment. But the moment that I'm in currently, it's going to go away. It's going to be in the rear view. And Nikita says, I believe we have more of a mental health issue than a gun issue, but I am perfectly happy with jumping through more hoops to get them. So am I. I have no problems with that. And honestly, would you like to know who also didn't have a problem with that? Guy named George Mason. Who is George Mason, by the way? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I know you didn't ask, but let's just say for the argument you did ask. Who the fuck is George Mason, Tebow? Well, George Mason was one of the founding fathers and one of the guys who wrote the Constitution of the United States, specifically the Second Amendment. Yes. You'll note in the first line of the Second Amendment, he references a well-regulated militia. First of all, regulation obviously is synonymous with control. If you have regulations on something, there's controls in place. There's some kind of mechanism to control the right to bear arms. And but that also begs the question. Well, actually, it doesn't beg the question because that's a logical fallacy, and I'm just using it in the colloquial sense, so piss off. Anyway, the question then becomes, okay, who is the militia? Who is this well-regulated militia supposed to be, according to George Mason, the guy who wrote the Second Amendment? Well, George Mason actually, like many of the founding fathers, did provide context for this, and in answer to this question, he wrote, and I quote, well, I'm going to paraphrase here, the well-regulated militia that he had in mind was, in fact, everybody. If you are an American citizen, then you are, according to the founding fathers and the guy who wrote the Second Amendment, part of a well-regulated militia. The only thing, the shall not be infringed part that all the homosexuals like to beat off to, that basically means that No, the government doesn't have the right to say all guns are illegal. The government has the right to regulate what guns you can buy. They can regulate how many you can own. And in fact, we've had gun control in our nation since before we were fucking America, guys, because Britain had gun control laws and we were a British colony, which meant that back before America was a thing, not only did the government know A, who made guns, B, who bought them. Yes, that was gun control laws in our country before all of that, before we became America. And oh, would you like to know something else? That was one of the laws from Britain that we kept. I mean, we left that up to state control afterwards, which led to some really weird laws. Like I believe it was Kentucky actually outlawed the sale of pistols because dueling became a fad somehow in our country. And yes, dueling was like a big moral panic in the early part of our country. I mean, Alexander Hamilton was shot to death in a duel. And oh, Gabriel says a few years ago, a kindergarten female teacher got killed trying to save their kids from a psychopath with a katana. Woman of the Year award went to Anita, a pop singer. Yeah, somehow I'm not fucking surprised at that. Because, you know, who cares about saving people's lives and all that? If you can sing a hit, if you've got a hit single, then you are way better than if you saved somebody's life from a dude with a katana. And Gabriel also says, I would like to suggest a TED Talk on YouTube called I Was Almost a School Shooter, worth... Oh, I will definitely check that out. Also, Jeremy, a song from Pearl Jam. The censored video clip has to do with Outtalk. Okay. I actually do. I was actually alive when that song dropped. And Just Saying says, Jeremy is one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs. I still have my Pearl Jam Play with Crayons, Not Guns t-shirt from the 90s. Actually, my favorite song on 10 was Gardens of Stone, but Jeremy was really awesome too. Oh, Akita, shaking your ass is more important than defending children. You know, why can't you do both? If I could defend children by shaking my ass, then yeah. And actually, Picky brings up a good point about the song Jeremy. It's actually about Jeremy killing himself in front of the class. And Gabriel says, you could actually play the TED Talk here for the... You know what? That's a great idea. And I got no problem doing that. So, yeah, let's get the... Hang on. Sorry, guys. Let's, okay. I have got so many tabs and windows open right now, you guys. I tell you what. And hey, I got 13. Thanks for coming, everybody. I actually really do appreciate it. You got no idea. Oh, I see what you're talking. I see the one. Hang on, it's the Aaron Stark, correct? If so, I have it, and I will play it. Okay, TEDx Talks. Here we go. Okay. We'll shift it over to full screen. Or no, not full screen, because then I can't click out of it. Okay, we'll do theater mode. That'll work. All right, let's share it. In a world of Kardashians, it's a wonder where this world went wrong. Oh. Yeah, reality TV is just a whole other subject that I really am not equipped to discuss right now. But needless to say, I hate reality TV. I don't watch it, and I think it's fucking terrible. Which is why I don't understand, like, that whole, like, all the, like, the 90-day fiance folks and all that. Like, I don't even really know, like, what they're talking about. And yeah, Gabriel, I actually really am appreciating your input tonight. I seriously, thank you. You've been great so far. Anyway, let's watch a video, shall we? And I'll try not to talk through it, but
I was almost a school shooter. 1996, Denver, Colorado. It's as a student in North High. In a moment of pain and anger, I almost committed a terrible atrocity. Growing up, I learned early on there was a strange comfort and calmness in darkness. I was always the new kid. My family was very violent and aggressive, drug-addicted parents. We were moving from place to place a lot, went to 30 or 40 different schools, always seemed to be going to a new school every other week. You woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning by some cops who run across the country to get away from them and then end up at a school I'd only be at for a couple of weeks and then have to do it all again a couple days later. Was the perpetual new kid. And since I also had such an unstable household, wasn't helped by the fact that I smelled really bad because I never had a shower or didn't really have any clean clothes. So I never really had any, all my clothes were dirty and torn. I had a weight problem. I was smart. I liked comic books at a time when kids didn't really like people who liked comic books that much.
Hey, I'm a comic book
So every
fan.
time I went to
Always
school,
was.
I was a whole new set of bullies. They do things like walk up to me and shoot me with a harpoon like I was a whale, or dump food on my head because they said I was too fat. But the bullying wasn't just at home, or wasn't just at school. It happened at home a lot too. I was told I was worthless by just about everybody in my life. And when you're told you're worthless enough, you will believe it. Then you're going to do everything you can to make everybody else agree with it too. And so I did. I wrapped that darkness around me like a blanket and used it as a shield. It would keep the few that would agree with me close, but it kept everybody else away. I always had heard in life that there was good people and bad people. I must be one of the bad people, so I guess I would have to just do what I was supposed to do. So I got really aggressive. 12, 13 years old, I got really into heavy metal music, and I was the mosh pit when I went to concerts. The abuse just never seemed to stop. I got into cutting around 14 or 15 because I figured that there was all this extreme emotion going on in my life I had absolutely no control over. Had to find some way to find control over something. So I took to cutting myself. I still have the scars to this day. 15, 16 years old, I ended up homeless. My parents had long ago kicked me out because I didn't want to deal with their drunken fighting anymore. So I was living on the streets. I had thought I had pushed all my other friends away too, shoved them all away by lying to them or stealing from them, or doing everything that my family taught me how to react to everybody, which was the complete wrong way of how to react. But I had no idea. I was just going on what I was taught. Finally, 16 years old, I'm sitting in my best friend's shed, who I thought I had already pushed away too by stealing from him and lying from him. Laying in this shed with the roof wide open, rain pouring down on me into a Dungy Grace chair that was covered in cobwebs and dirt, hadn't been touched in months. I'm sitting there with my arm covered in blood, knowing that if I didn't do something, I was going to kill myself soon. So I did the only thing I could think of to do. Grabbed a phone book and I called social services. So I went to social services. Sadly, they didn't just bring me in there. They also took my mom in there too, who happened to be one of the largest sources of my pain growing up. And since she had spent her entire life running from place to place and dealing with social workers and police officers, she knew exactly what to say to get me to get them to believe that I was just making it all up. It was all just an act. I was just doing it for attention. And they sent me home with her. And as they sent me home with her, she turned to me and she said, "Next time you should do a better job and I'll buy you the razor blades." My heart just got ripped out of me that point completely. That darkness that I've been staring at for so long, I just ran headlong into it. I had nothing left to live for. I literally had nothing to lose. And when you have nothing to lose, you can do anything. And that is a terrifying thought. I decided that my act of doing something was I was going to express my extreme anger and rage by getting a gun. I was going to attack. either my school or a mall food court. Really didn't matter to me which one. It wasn't about the people. It was about the largest amount of damage in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of security. Both those places were right targets. So I wish I had a better story about actually getting a gun, but that was actually really rather businesslike. There was some gangbanger kids near my school. It was back in the mid-90s when gangs were still a rather major problem in North Denver schools. And this kid had seen me. He knew me from my family, and he'd sold drugs to them before. And he knew that I wasn't really in school. I was just always at school. So he knew I wasn't a narc or anything like that. But didn't know him anything more than a first name. But that didn't really take anything more than that. I knew that they had access to guns. They talked about it all the time. So I went up to him and said, hey, can you get me a gun? Sure, get me an ounce. All right, give me 3 days. That was it. I was waiting to get myself a gun so I could kill a lot of people. But thankfully, I wasn't alone in that darkness. That best friend who had saved me, I was sleeping in a shed, he saw this place that I was in. Even though I had stolen from him and lied to him and took his belongings and ruined it all, he didn't care. He still brought me in and showed me acts of kindness. Just simple acts. It wasn't the kind of overbearing kindness where they come to you and they say, is there anything I can do to you? Is there a program I can get you in? Is there something I can do to make you better? How can I help you? It was literally just sitting down next to me. Hey, would you like a meal? Let's watch a movie. Treat me like it was a Tuesday. Feel like I was a person. Someone treat you like you're a person when you don't even feel like you're human. It'll change your entire world. It did to me. He stopped me with his acts of kindness from committing that atrocity that day. If you see someone who's in that spot that needs that love, give it to them. Love the ones you feel deserve it the least because they need it the most. It'll help you just like as much as it helps them. We're in a really big, dangerous spot right now with this trend of arming the teachers and looking out for the kids who might be the threat in schools and maybe turning them into the FBI. What's that going to do to a kid who's in the position that I was in 25 years ago, who's alone and depressed and abused and is just sitting there hurting, and someone thinks that they're a threat? So he gets turned to the FBI, and 1 month of pain turns into a lifetime of legal trouble because one person thought he was going to be a problem. Instead of looking at that kid like he's a threat, look at him like he might be a friend. Look at him like you might be able to bring him into your fold. Show him that it's just a Tuesday. Show him that he's worth it. Show him that he can exist in this pain, even though it's intense, that at the end of it, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I found my light. Now I'm a happy family man. I have a father of 4. My wife and my daughter are in the audience today. And even bigger than that, the friend who saved my life, he's in the audience today too. Because friendship doesn't necessarily die. We have to give love to the people who we think deserve it the least. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That was some powerful stuff right there. I felt that. I'm not even gonna lie. I felt that, like, I knew, like, when he started talking, I'm just like, yeah, I know exactly what I know what this guy has gone through. I know, like, what that's like. I know what it's, I know what it's like. Actually, I'm sure a lot of us know what it's like to feel alone, to feel like everybody hates you, or even worse, nobody cares enough to even hate you or like or love you. You're just a water balloon with a brain to them. And why does it matter why does it matter if you do anything? I never wanted to hurt another person, but I did question the purpose of my life. I did too. I've questioned whatever my life's purpose is many, many times. And over the years, I've come to realize that life doesn't have a purpose. Life's purpose is what you want it to be. And the Jesus, the fact of the matter is that also, whatever your purpose is, it can change. Like if you're struggling with, say, homelessness, then your purpose of life is maybe to find a place to live. If you don't have a job, maybe your purpose is to find gainful employment. If you're lonely, maybe the purpose is to meet people and form those connections that last. I don't necessarily believe that there is a purpose to life. I believe that your you know whatever purpose is the purpose that you set for yourself in the moment, and once that's done, you move on. You're free to move on to another purpose. And just to saying, yeah, that was a powerful quote right there. Love those that deserve it the least but need it the most. And I think a lot of people in this world need, they need that love, and maybe they don't feel that they're worthy of it. Maybe they don't feel like they deserve it. There are so many times, guys, where I don't feel like I deserve it. I feel like I don't deserve to have friends. I don't deserve people to love me. I'm a piece of shit. But if it wasn't for people who stepped in there and loved me, then when I was at rock bottom, then I probably wouldn't be here right now. And I am so sorry. I am honestly crying. I feel stupid. But anyway, hang on. Sorry, I got to collect myself for a second. Gonna drink some water. Anyway, TT says sometimes you don't realize that you're serving an important purpose right now. You may realize it later, but not in the moment. That's also true. Like, you never know just what how your actions or your words can affect somebody down the road. And hang on, I got to scroll up here. Akita says, agreed. My life is grim right now, but still has a positive, bright outlook. Just kind of cloudy right now, and it's hard to do. It's really hard to do, but you have to look at the good thing. You have to focus on the good things that are going on. I know that's easier said than done. For so long, oh God, I'm doing it again. Like, I couldn't, for so long though, I couldn't see anything but darkness. Like, just the mere act of getting out of bed was psychological hell. Like, it was hell for me, just existing. But I eventually, like, as long as I don't know what I'm trying to say, as long as you have some type of perspective on it, and honestly, and that is so difficult to find sometimes, because you're in the middle of it and you've got all of these dark fucking thoughts just swirling around in your brain, and you can't get past it. It's so hard. It feels almost impossible just to push past it and look to something positive or bright or something that makes you happy. And it's hard, but I mean, you got to try it. Even if you fail, as long as you're trying to look to as long as you're trying to focus on the positives, that's what counts. It's the effort. And as long as, and if you keep doing it, if you keep pushing at it, you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and you can finally get that perspective to step back and go, hey, yeah, there's a lot of horrible shit going on in my brain right now, but there's also some good stuff going on in my life. as long as you can do that, then I don't know, like maybe you've won the battle, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say. TT says, just like this guy's story, maybe your purpose right now is to show that hurting person kindness that seems simple to you, but it changes their entire life. And again, that could be. And you don't know what that's going to be. Like, you don't know. I mean, maybe it's going to, maybe somebody you've said something or you've done something and somebody comes to you like years later and says, hey, you know what? I didn't really think about what was going on back then, but what you said or what you did really affected me. And it really made me want, change my outlook on things. And Lizzie says, I'm so glad we came here together tonight. Thank you. And thanks for coming, Lizzie. Like I said, like leading into this on Twitter, I really wish that I could have just gone with what I was going to talk about, which was a whole lot of nothing. Gabriel. Sorry, Gabriel says, you see a broken dude with nobody to lean on to. And that can be any of us. Me, you, your neighbor. No other panel talking about mass shootings is considering those facts. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't really been on a lot of other panels that are talking about this, but it's true. And it's not necessarily that people don't have anybody to lean on. It's, I can speak I'm speaking again from my own personal experience. I'm a very private person. I don't really like to let a lot of people in. I get very standoffish when it comes to like really connecting with people. So when it does happen, like it's new and weird to me. But that was my thing recently. Like when I was going through my stuff for the last couple of years, is that I had people that I could lean on. I just didn't. I didn't see it, or I didn't feel like I again deserved it. And Picky says, nah, Tracy, you're my friend. And Picky, you're my friend too. We've been friends for over half of our lives now, I think. Like what, 1999? And yes, for anybody who's paying attention, my name is in fact Tracy. just so we know, just so we're clear. Don't do anything stupid, because we're all in the FBI watch list just for watching that video together. I'm sure I'm on a few watch lists for some of my internet habits. Let's just say I was a big fan of rotten.com back in the day. And this is one of the best discussions I've seen on YouTube in years. Thank you. Thanks, TT. I didn't know how I honestly was really scared of how this is going to turn out, but this live is awesome, and you're awesome. So are you, Jennifer. Thank you. Thanks again. Thanks for coming in. And just saying checks on you daily, and you're blessed to have just good. It's good to have somebody like that. And just saying, I will apologize for the way we first met. I felt like I was kind of interrogating you the first time we met, and I never actually meant to do that. So I apologize. And thanks for coming on. Oh God. Oh, Picky. TiVo is on a list for a subscription to Declawed, Cat Fancier magazine. For those of you guys probably don't realize this. So a long time ago, Picky and I were in a wrestling group together, and we made a joke about cat porn. And one of the magazines that we came up with was called Declawed, porn for kitties. Anyway, it was I'm sure it was a lot funnier at the time, but and yes, I did see what happened with Beto. He stood up to the governor and placed the blame for the shooting straight onto the governor's head. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I think that we do need a more comprehensive gun control in our nation. Again, I'm saying this as a guy who loves his fucking guns. I have no problems jumping through all of the hoops to get more guns. How about Senator Cruz? The reason Senator Cruz grew his beard out was because he was sick of people telling him that he looked like the Zodiac Killer or Bill Murray's character in Ed Wood. But yeah, that's another thing. If you actually look at like lobbying, and before people come at me with the whataboutism, like, oh, what about the companies that the Democrats are taking money from? We're not talking about them. We're talking about guys like Senator Cruz, who gets millions of dollars from the National Rifle Association, who, by the way, banned guns at their convention in Texas. Cruz is a tool. He's not the best tool, but he's a tool. I thought Teddy married his beard. He did. He had a couple of kids with his beard. Oh shit! I hope I don't get sued for defamation. But okay. And yeah, you were on AZ's panel, and you couldn't read the chat. Otherwise, you would have answered. No, it's okay. It's okay. I was just curious. Like, I didn't mean to like come off like a dick. I really didn't. Like, I like, as I've said before, I do talk a lot of shit, but I don't necessarily mean anything by it. Like, it's just, a lot of the shit that I say on the internet is for entertainment purposes. Like, there is a kernel of truth into a lot of the things I'm saying, or at least a kernel of personal opinions, but I dress that up in a lot of hyperbole. Let's just be completely honest. Jamie Lynn Spears is Ted Cruz in a wig. Oh God. Nobody tell Julie that. Please don't tell Julie that. And Akita says, I will gladly go through whatever to get firearms, but my guns are safe from hurting anybody. Unless they're needed, they just chill out in the house. Yeah, mine too. Yeah, they just chill in here. We are 15 people live here discussing a topic. How can all of us 15 people start something to change society? Is it a pie in the sky idea? Well, I don't really. I'm not going to be so arrogant as to believe that just us 15 people discussing this right now is going to change anything. In order to really like make that change, you have to vote. You have to make your voice heard. You have to hammer that. You have to hammer what you believe in home, whether it's on social media, whether it's in the ballot box, whatever. And before you say, oh, so you're just a social justice warrior. Well, I'd like to point out that those anti-social justice warriors are also social justice warriors. They just they just have a different definition of social justice. Tell me I'm wrong. Prove it. Prove I'm wrong. Where is Julie? Sleeping? Yeah, it's like almost, I think it's like past, like, it's almost 4 o'clock in Scotland, so I'm pretty sure she's asleep by now. Shyla says, that's my thing. People complain that common sense gun laws will take guns from the good people. If you're good people, then you'd pass what exactly. If you really are a good law-abiding citizen, then it shouldn't be a problem, should it? No, it's not. It's not even about that. These people, it's people that just, oh, I want my guns and I want them now. I don't want to have to wait. I don't want to have to file paperwork. I don't want to have to do shit. I just want to be able to drop my $100 bucks in a Walmart and walk away with a rifle. And that's a good point, Stacy. You are in Arkansas, so yeah, I guess that's progress. Yes. And actually, I do agree with Akita on this, is that there's a pile of things that need to happen to make legit change. We do need comprehensive gun control. We do need better mental health services, and people in our like education system, in our social, in our social network, whatever, people who are at risk need, stronger support from somebody. It needs to be all of those things. It's not, which is how I kind of started this whole rant or whatever it is I'm doing here. I don't even fucking know at this point, but what I was mentioning that so many people think, I mean, on every side of the aisle, doesn't matter what political side you're on or what, it's always like, oh, if we just do this one thing, all of this will magically just go away. And that isn't how it works. And also, another thing to keep in mind is we also have to keep in mind the socioeconomic issues in our country as well. Because people, if we've had COVID, people have been getting laid off. All this other shit's been going on, and people are getting sick and dying all around them, and all this other stuff that can really fuck with your head. I mean, let's take a look at the Great Depression. Crime went through the fucking roof during the Great Depression because, jobs were, getting a job was almost like a blood sport. Like, you had to fight and claw and kick and scream just to get work. And that work might not even last for like more than a day. Like you could put in a 12-hour shift at a dock or something like that, get handed a buck and be like, all right, but we don't need you after this. So good luck to you. Which is kind of what the New Deal was hoping to address. And just saying, who is Canadian, the stark differences between the gun laws here and the US is surreal. I can literally drive to the States in less than 2 hours, yet it's like a different world. And that's, oh God. Yeah, that's I'm just going to go down the list here. Stacy says that was a point that Beto made. The largest intake for mental health in Texas is a jail. Yes. I'm sure it's like that. I'm sure it's like that in Oregon too. I didn't actually, when I was in the system, I didn't really look into mental health services, but I can imagine that a lot of people in jail do get mental health services. And Akita says, I know for a fact that a person went out and got a gun permit in this state and simply checked boxes on some papers and they got a permit. And that person being so unstable that they probably shouldn't own a gun. Yeah, that's a thing. You shouldn't be able to just fill out some fill out some paperwork, tick off some boxes, and oh, here you go. Here's your AR-15. It shouldn't work like that. It shouldn't be like that. And Gabriel says, I mean, in the smaller scale through internet, can we actually do anything? you know, as I said earlier, about the only thing, you just got to keep the discussion going. Come on, we all know the cycle, guys. I think we've seen enough school shootings on the internet to we know how it works. School shooting happens, politicians clutch pearls, people on Twitter argue back and forth about it. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, which yeah, I'm sure that the people who are doing the thoughts and prayers feel really good about themselves, but they haven't actually done shit. And then the next news story comes along and everybody talks about that instead, and we forget about all the discussion we had. We can't forget it. We can't forget the discussion. We have to keep it going. And I'm pretty, I mean, and it's easy for me to say because I have the attention span of a freaking gnat. So, but as hard as it may be, and people out there, might, bitch about it. Like, oh God, will you stop talking about gun control already? Oh God, will you stop? You're politicizing everything. Unfortunately, if you really want to make a change, you gotta like push past all that. You gotta let those people just scream into a fucking void, and you gotta keep soldiering on. And you got to keep the discussion, you got to keep the conversation going. And Gabriel says the song is called "Don't Stay in School," and after the song got viral, schools started discussing those subjects. Don't know if any results came out of that though, but at least it started from somewhere. Which is, that's another thing we need to address that could definitely help us out, with maybe like lessening some of these shootings. The education system in our nation is fucking broken. I can't be the only one who believes this. I can't be the only one who there are college graduates coming out of school right now who still can't fucking write a proper sentence. They still can't spell. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe school was different. Maybe school was different when I went, but when I was growing up, if you couldn't write like a proper sentence, you were sent to the special. You were spent to the kid with helmet English class until you could figure that shit out, and then you were brought into regular English class. Oh. I'm coming back to just saying here after a second. Akita says they get half-ass mental health help in prison. Yes, and they get half-ass half-ass regular medical health help in prison too. Seen that one. And don't worry, Gabriel, you're doing just fine. And yeah, it can be hard to get a point across with 200 characters. Sometimes you want to go a little longer. Shala says yes. The for-profit prison system that has nothing to do with rehabilitation. Another great point. And yeah, those for-profit prison systems are basically like a higher education for criminals. Like how many people have, because I actually know a couple. I know a couple of people who like got arrested when they were children, sent off to a juvenile hall or something like that. They didn't get rehabilitated. They didn't get better. They just learned how to be better criminals, and so on and so forth. And then they got stuck in that cycle of incarceration, release, escalation of crimes, more incarceration, and so on. And okay, now we're going to go back to just saying up here, who's Josh Duggar was sentenced today, and he's either staying in an Arkansas prison or transferred to Texas. So yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, he's getting like 12 and a half years for kitty corn. Yeah, 12 and a half years for kitty corn. I mean, I think it should have been longer. I mean, the maximum sentence he could have got out of that was 25 years. And I honestly think that given his history, which has been very well documented, he probably should have gotten all 25 of those years. But 12 and a half, I guess you get that kind of leeway when you and your family have a show on network television. But here's the thing. He's probably not even gonna live to see that sentence. I mean, unless the prison does the wise thing and separates him from Gen Pop. Because trust me, if they throw a kitty diddlers in Gen Pop, they don't last long. They get raped. They get the shit kicked out of them. They get shanked or shot with a zip gun. Yes, zip guns are a thing in prison. And my brother isn't. Oh, your brother's in prison and it's shit. Yeah. I got lucky. I never actually got into prison, but I was in county jail, and yeah, that was awful. I could think of about 20,000 places I would rather be than county jail. My stepson went to jail for drugs, and all he learned was how to better hide his addiction and how to start selling them to support his habit. I learned that. I learned that one. Well, actually, to be fair, I learned that before I went to jail for drugs. I learned that when I was in college. Whole story. That's a whole other story. The TLDR version is that I stumbled in. I working at a convenience store in college. I got started dealing a little bit of meth under the table. Well, the thing of it was that there were a group of guys. They had a lab, like just a couple of miles down the road, and they'd come in for beer. And the whole thing was that they would trade me. They I let them take home free beer. They'd give me free meth. I tried it. I couldn't stand it. I still can't stand it. But so eventually, like, I was like, well, I mean, if they're gonna keep giving me meth, that's more money. That's money in my pocket. So like, I'd work this shitty ass minimum wage job at a fucking plaid pantry convenience store, at 19 years old. And, I'd work one night shift, like, according to the regular wage, like I made about like $40. But with the side hustle, like I'd have like a couple $100 in my pocket in cash. And okay, so Just Saying is talking about the education. My son wrote a report 3 pages long, and he had 2 periods in there and maybe 1 comma. I said, what the fuck? And he said, nah, teacher don't care. As long as we get it done. I was mortified. And you should be mortified. Because eventually, or if he isn't already, your son's going to be on social media. And he's maybe going to like get into just arguing over a topic that he's incredibly passionate about. And Gen Xers like myself, or boomers, or anyone, or is the generation before the boomers even still alive? Because I know mine aren't, but if they are, they would look at that and just be like, well, I'm pretty sure maybe you made some good points, maybe you didn't, but you know what? You write like an idiot, so I just right over my head. Which is kind of a whole thing for me. Like, if you actually want to write something that is, that people are going to look at as well thought out, well articulated, all that, have some proper grammar and punctuation and spelling. God damn it. And if you really care about the topic that much, don't use internet terms. I actually know somebody who is a current teacher right now, and yeah, she's like she's had to give like kids markdowns because they'll use LOL or ROFL or BRB or something like that in an actual written report. You know, if I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm being a boomer. I don't know. And they're wanting to send him to a prison that has a program for pedos. I know just the place. In fact, it's in Washington. Shiloh would know about, might know about it. It's called McNeil Island, or it's also has another name, which is called it's nicknamed Pedo Island. Basically, all of the worst sex offenders in the state get shipped there. It's an island. It's off of I can't remember if it's Puget Sound or what, but actually I posted a video on the Discord that some guy actually snuck onto it with a raft and explored like all the abandoned, because there was a town there was an old prison which has all been abandoned now, but yeah, he goes in there and explores all of that. And yeah, come back soon, Gabriel, and enjoy your dinner. But yeah, if you guys want, I'll actually post a link to the McNeil Island video in the description later. And Stacy says, yeah, if he does, he'll be with his own disgusting kind if they do, and he'll probably be pretty safe. Well, maybe. I mean, what if they decide that Joshy kind of looks a little young for his age? He might have some problems then. I'm just saying. I mean, it won't be a problem for us because, well, karma's a bitch. But yeah. Lizzie says, my stepson went in for dealing weed. It was a terrible place to send him, but at the same time, he had to get out of the house. Well, yeah, that's a really hard thing to deal with when it's like your own son. Like, you don't want your family to go to jail, but at the same time, like, what else are you gonna do? And Shyla says, we have a couple of entire blocks here that are all pedo housing. One of them is 4 blocks from my house. Oh my God. Although I have I've actually worked when I was working in caregiving. So before I moved up to dementia care and hospice, I was in MRDD care. And I worked with MRDD clients who were all sex offenders. Yeah, that was a whole thing. That was a whole thing. I plenty of stories. And I mean, I think I think that was a little, I mean, honestly, I'm not even going to lie. Like when it came to the MRDD, the sex offenders that I worked with, it was kind of one of those things where you kind of could give them a pass because, yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, taking out your cock and waving it in front of a 6-year-old boy, it's pretty fucking awful. But at the same time, we're talking about a guy who had an IQ of like 28. So to him, yeah, that wasn't a kid. That was a peer. That was an equal to him. So it was kind of one of those things where it was just like, on the one hand, like you just wanted to punch these dudes in the face, but on the other hand, you're like, needless to say, I transferred over to a non-sex offender MRDD group home pretty quickly. And okay, McNeil Island is just south of Tacoma. Okay. I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of want to take a boat out there myself and check it out. Okay, Lizzie. I was a social worker for a few years. I worked at a program for parolees, and I learned a lot. Now, what all did you learn? Which actually reminds me, since I kind of think I kind of think I covered like everything I wanted to talk about with the main topic. So yeah, here, as a wise woman once said, click the link. Go ahead. I dare you. I double dare you. Yeah, you want to pop on? Now's the time. How many people are in? How many people are? I got 12 watching. That's cool. I hope. Oh God. I hope that the people who are watching, I hope that you're enjoying this. And Lizzie's in bed. Okay. Well, actually, just at what did you learn working with parolees? I would honestly like. I would love to do a if. I'm thinking some. I've been thinking sometime, Liz. We should do a stream, and you can go and you can like discuss your experiences, because I am like really curious. I really want to know now. Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. Feel free. Like I will actually, I'll actually do that, and I'll let you know, and we can schedule a time to talk about it. And Gabriel says, "What is pedo housing?" I'm back eating salami and bread. Oh, it's a housing for pedophiles, uh, for people who like to touch children inappropriately, or people who like to have child corn on their computer. I, you learn that there are gray areas. There's always gray. You know, there. One of the biggest problems is that we are all. I think it's just a natural thing. Like it's not like a societal or a, you know, like a. I don't think it's necessarily a societal thing. I think it's a brain thing, but we're very Manichaean in our outlook. Like it's either this or it's this, and yeah, we don't really like that whole in between. You know, it's got to be, it's either black or it's white. Because I think it's because we're conditioned to prefer things simple. You know, the more variables that are in play, the more complications that come into effect, the harder it is to make a judgment call on anything. And there's, you know, yeah, but in real life there's gray areas, there's nuance, there's context, there's so many things that you have to consider before, you know, deciding to act on things. And yeah, Akita said also explains it. It's block housing for, yeah, for pedos in prison. And there's also a town in Florida that is like all pedos, like, or sex offenders. I shouldn't be I shouldn't be so specific, but yeah, there's like a small town in Florida that is just nothing but people that you don't really want to hang out with. Picky Tallahassee. Well, if Josh were here, Picky, I would say Miami, but that might be fighting words with him. And to some of them, it's just being told to not eat the apple. Oh, you mean like that whole like if you don't tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it just because, well, I want to and fuck you. Because I used to be like that. I used to be that guy. Who do you? now I kind of wish Josh were here. I'm not even gonna lie. Anyway, if nobody wants to come on panel, I'll probably just end this here. Oh, Miracle Village, thank you, Stacy. Okay, was that how close is that to Psychic Town? I'm just wondering if there's like a Venn diagram overlap between the two. How often do you have these chats? You know, I am pretty sporadic. I'm not gonna lie. I keep telling myself I'm gonna schedule them, but I never seem to do that. But you know, if anything, you know, I might be able, you know, I might do this like every Wednesday or Tuesday. Usually in the middle of the week, because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are my days off from work. So yeah, who knows? I might actually do one. Yeah, fuck it. Why not? We'll do one next week. I'll even like schedule it like the second we get off of here. And Nikita says, "Don't end it. This is so interesting." Well, thank you. I'm not gonna lie. My lives are usually not this interesting at all. And I should, yes, Picky, you should. And you know, you and I were, you know, I was like, I pulled so many false alarms on you with the podcast. Like maybe we should like seriously consider that again. We should. Yeah, I don't know like when, but because I'm kind of financially in some issues right now, so I don't necessarily like my phone isn't necessarily working, but I get paid Friday, and we should be able to cover that. And okay, and yeah, I'll definitely let you know. And are you on? Are you one of my Twitter guys, or you must be one of my guys on Twitter? And Akita says Tuesdays. I'm off then. Hey, actually, yeah, Tuesday works for me. We can definitely do that. Picky says I'd be interested, but maybe once a month because I'm lazy. Yeah, that's my problem too. Totally lazy. Oh, you're a video producer? Oh, me, you know, you should hit me up. I'd like to see like what we could do with this channel maybe. I mean, I don't. Oh, I see. Okay, so you found my stream searching for mass shooting live on you. Okay. Wow, I'm shocked that I actually hit the algorithm. I don't know whether I should be proud of that or not, but you know what? We'll take it. We'll take it. Anyway, you know what? Let's move on from mass shootings for now. Just because I think I've exhausted everything I want to say about the topic, and yeah, I don't know what else is going on. So yeah, hey Picky. So I was noticing on your Twitter earlier, you were bitching about the Detroit Tigers. So what happened to them today? I heard they got hosed by the umps. Oh, so okay. What other subjects do you usually talk about in my podcast? So I have a lot of interests. Like I'll talk about baseball. I like to talk about professional wrestling because I'm a big dork about that. I pretty much just talk about whatever's on my head, on the top of my head on lives. I am working on edited content, which is a completely whole. It's another topic. I'm actually going to be talking about lol cows and all the various ones that you can find on the internet. But yeah, I usually try and keep things a little lighter than this. This is actually kind of new ground for me. Oh, and thank you, Stacy, for the shout out here. Yes, go check me out on Twitter, or you can hit me up on the Instagrams. Either way, I'm more active on Twitter though, so just to warn you. Would bukkake be considered a mass shooting? There's only one victim though. It's just a whole bunch of shooters. One victim, many shooters. That's bukkake. Would somebody explain lolcows? Okay. So a lolcow is well, actually, you would know a lolcow, Akita, because your sister-in-law happens to be one, as well as her husband. Basically, people who show their ass online for clicks and views. But yeah, that's pretty much what a lolcow is, amongst other things. All right, good night, Stacy, and take care, Picky. Thank you both for coming on, and thanks, Stacy, for modding for me and glowing up my Twitter. But yes, unfortunately, Akita, your sister-in-law and her husband definitely meet the criteria for a lolcow. However, I probably won't be doing a video on them in my edited content because I'm a little biased, and because I actually am I'm friends with a lot of the people that they've lolcowed after. So yeah, I probably won't be doing a video on them because I think the whole thing for me is, I mean, if you're gonna do like an edit, if you're gonna discuss like these certain topics, you kind of have to go in unbiased. Otherwise, you run the risk of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would there are people in the quote unquote anti community that I would love to cover, but I can't because I can't trust myself to keep my personal biases and judgments out of it. So I won't be doing that. And also, it wouldn't be worth it. Yes, good point. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, basically, my whole rule on when I decided that I would actually do edited content about lolcowing is that if I am like connected in any even a tangential way to the subject, I'm not going to cover it. Oh, welcome back. And how's your restart? And I know I've asked you this before, but who's the and he's right. I do play the straight man to Picky when we cast. It's actually we work really well together. I've gotten nothing but good I've got nothing but good comments when you and I have worked together on things. I think maybe it's because we've been friends for like over 20 years. Oh. Anyway, guys, yeah, you know what? I know. I think I am actually going to end this. But I do want to thank you all for coming on and thank you for listening. And I will put up a link to the McNeil Island exploration video in the description, and I will schedule our next live for Tuesday. How about same time, 7 o'clock? Sound good to everybody? 7 o'clock next Tuesday. Who's down? My Instagram is, oh, here, hang on. I will type it out for you. It is on the screen, but that is my Mohawk powered. That's my Instagram. And again, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot thank you enough. This was a great. It was hard. It was really hard, but we plowed through it. We got it all taken care of. We got it all discussed. Everything's good. Whew. Okay. I will see you guys next Tuesday. All right. Take care. Bye.